So we're going to make a fluttering flag. So let's start by pressing the build button down here and choosing the shape we want to start with. I'm going to start with a flag pole, so a cylinder shape seems like a good place to start for a flag pole. It's too short and too fat, so we need to do something about that. I'm going to change the diameter, X and Y diameters, to kind of 1/10 of their current size, and the height I'll make it 3 meters tall. Obviously you can do whatever you like in terms of the sizes you choose. Those are the ones that seem good to me. So the flagpole, pretty basic flagpole, is done. That was the easy bit. What about the flag? Well, let's choose a cube to base our flag on. Just drop it here, and then I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start by flattening it up. So I'm holding down the Shift and Control keys and then dragging to flatten it. And I'm going to make it a little bit more flag shaped, so it's sort of long and tall, and then I'm going to rotate it around the axis like that, maybe make it slightly taller so that it looks a bit flag shaped, and we can move it up, and in a moment we'll put it on our flagpole. But what we need to do now is make it sort of flutter in the wind, and in order to do that I'm going to zoom in a bit so you can see what I'm doing. What we're going to do is move to the Features tab, and you'll notice that there's an option here called Flexible Path. And if you watch the flag, as soon as I check that box, it now becomes this sort of floppy, soft thing, which is a bit flag-like. And you have a number of parameters that you can use to adjust how flexible it is and what kind of things it reacts to. Now this is a bit of a personal choice, so I'm going to choose the options that work well for me. I'm going to bump the softness up a little bit to its maximum of 3. I'm not going to make it be affected by gravity, even though in the real world it would be, just because I think it actually works better, nor drag, but I am going to put the effect of wind up to the maximum, so it flutters sort of in the wind, and I'm going to remove all the tension from it. So you can play around with these parameters and make them work in whatever way you want to. These are the options that I've chosen that I quite like, and it makes the flag look reasonable in Second Life. Now obviously currently it doesn't look much like a flag because it's got this wooden default texture on it, so we need to put a texture onto it. Let's do that now. Let's move to the Texture tab and press the Texture button. I'll move this into view so you can see it. In fact, I'll move the flag over a bit so you can see that as well. The texture I'm going to choose is actually the one that's in the library, so everyone has it, which is the US flag. I'm not from the US myself, so I've already uploaded my own flag elsewhere, and obviously you can do the same, but if you are from the US, then luckily you already have a flag in. I can find it by typing flag in here, and it's in the library, which everyone has, under textures, and we have American flag, so that's pretty cool. So we'll select that. Looks a kind of weird for a number of reasons. The repeats per face is incorrect, so I need to set that to 1 for both horizontal and vertical, but it's still not looking quite right. Let's have a look at it. If I just minimize that a little bit. You know, the stars are in the wrong place and so on, so you need to do a little bit of playing around with the parameters of the texture. So if I smooth that around here so you can see it, you've got a rotation set of parameters, and you just set these to we'll try a few values and see what works for you. For example, if I put 270 in here, 270 degrees, just look back at that flag, it's now showing the stars and stripes. It's actually, when you're working with textures like this, it's sometimes easier to just turn the flexible path off for a moment so that it doesn't flap around and out of view. But that looks okay. If you go to the back of the flag though, let me just move around to the back. It's actually upside down, which is not what you want. So you can adjust that by choosing the select texture option and clicking on that face, and then just working on changing the value of the rotation for that face only. So for example, if I put 90 degrees in there, that'll rotate it correctly, so it's now looking reasonable on both sides. So all we need to do is attach it to the flagpole, and let me zoom out a bit so you can see what I'm doing. So if we move this flag up a little bit and attach it to or maybe very close to the flagpole, we need to shovel it a little bit closer. Like that, and a little bit of trial and error, you can get it so that it's resting right against the flagpole. We're cutting through it now, so we can move it over a bit. Anyway, I'm sure you can play with this and get it to your heart's content. So it looks sort of okay, and then you can just turn that flexible path back on. It's still got the parameters we set. And there you have a fluttering American flag. You may want to change the texture of the flagpole to something else, possibly. I don't know. Wooden flagpoles, do they work? I actually find a rubber texture, which is in your library, works pretty well, even though it might seem strange to make it rubber, but it looks, to me anyway, somewhat flagpole-like. But as with all things, you can play with this to your heart's content. Anyway, that's now done. We should now just link the two objects to each other. So hold down Shift, click on the flag, hold down Shift, click on the flagpole, press Control L, and then give it a name here. So flag and pole, perhaps. And then you have a nice object that you can store in your inventory and have on your property. And that's it. Thanks for watching.